So we're coming to you live on Holy Week, and we're reflecting on the cross. We're looking this afternoon at Luke chapter 23 and verse number 13 and following. It says that Pilate, now we said yesterday that Pilate, being the governor over Judea, had two primary responsibilities. The first was to collect taxes. The second was to keep the peace. And on very rare occasions, he would adjudicate cases that were brought before him. So Pilate called together the chief priests and the rulers of the people. Now, of course, the rulers were upset with Jesus because Jesus had come into Jerusalem proclaiming himself to be the king and then cleaning out their temple. They'd also heard many about his miracles of raising people like Lazarus from the dead. So they were seeing the momentum behind Jesus, and they were trying to stop that momentum. They were envious of him and believing he should be put to death. Pilate said, "You brought me this man as one who is inciting the people to rebellion, but I've examined him in your presence and have found the basis for your charges against him. No basis." That is to say that Pilate, upon examination of Jesus, found him to be an innocent man. We know that Jesus came into the world by the birth of a virgin. The sinful nature of his father was not passed on to him. Jesus was sinless. Jesus lived a sinless life. And now, upon examination of a Roman governor, he found that the charges made against him were false. Neither is Herod, for he sent him back to us, as you can see, and he has done nothing to deserve death. Therefore, I will punish him and then release him. But with one voice, they cried out, "Away with this man! Release Barabbas to us." Now, Barabbas was thrown into prison because he was an insurrectionalist. He was we would call it a terrorist. We can tell what we know about the situation in three short sentences. Barabbas was guilty, Jesus was innocent, and Barabbas lived and Jesus died. Yeah, we don't know anything about Barabbas. We know his name, Barabbas, means Bar Rabbi, son of a rabbi. So he was raised in a religious home. But somewhere along the line, Barabbas had believed that the Romans should be overthrown. And he himself had become like a zealot. And he had incited others to rebellion against Rome. Prison was where he belonged. He was there because of his heinous crimes. Why would anybody want to set Barabbas free? Pilate severely underestimated the hatred the Jewish leaders had stirred up against Jesus. He thought that the declaration of this man's innocence would be enough. Pilate could not think of any reason why he should be killed. Why would you want to kill a man like Jesus? Look at the record of Jesus. He went around doing good. He was anointed with the Holy Spirit. He healed people who were sick. He gave sight back to the blind. He cleansed the lepers. He raised the dead back to life. The people listened gladly to the words of Jesus. He was saving people right and left. In sane times, this would not make sense, but those were not sane times. When a crowd has been whipped up into a frenzy, they will believe the worst about the best, and the facts don't seem to even matter. We had an episode not long ago here in America where people came to the Capitol to protest injustice, and they were whipped into a frenzy, and they began an insurrection against our own government. Mark 15:11 says the chief priests stirred up the crowd to have them choose Barabbas. Matthew adds that the elders were involved, meaning the older men, the graybeards most likely to gain a hearing. Now, any student of crowd psychology knows how this works. It only takes 4 or 5 men in strategic places to start the chant, "Give us Barabbas. We want Barabbas." Well, sensing the mood of the crowd, Pilate makes one last feeble attempt, and he says, "What shall I do then with the one who is called the King of the Jews?" But it is too late now. The crowd begins to shout, "Crucify him, crucify him." Fulton Sheen remarked on this scene. He said, "Right is still right if nobody is right, and wrong is still wrong if everybody is wrong." The first poll in the history of Christianity was wrong. It was the greatest miscarriage of justice in history. Jesus must die because of one man's moral cowardice. For Barabbas, it meant that he, the guilty one, would go free, while Jesus, the innocent one, would die in his place. One ancient tradition says that after Barabbas was released, he went up on the hillside to Golgotha to watch the execution of the one who had taken his place. Can you imagine being in the cell of Barabbas, being the prisoner, awaiting his own execution, knowing that sometime soon he would be crucified for his crimes? And then the guard comes, and Barabbas thinks, well, this is the end. And the guard takes off his chains and opens the door and releases him. He's a free man. It's all because of a substitution that was made. Somebody took his place. The one who caused the insurrection, namely Barabbas, went free. The one who caused no insurrection, who was innocent, Jesus, was crucified. We have not read this story rightly if we think that Barabbas is bad because he was a criminal, and we are good because we are not like him. I am Barabbas. Every man is a murderer, a thief, a criminal, an insurrectionist, a lawbreaker, a rioter, justly in prison, rightly condemned, freed from punishment by the substitute of the one who died in my place. Barabbas stands for every son of Adam who has ever walked on the earth. Barabbas stands for me. When we finally get a glimpse of Christ, we see how great our sin really is. In light of Calvary, all our supposed goodness is nothing but filthy rags. The beauty of the gospel shines forth from this story. Jesus, the innocent one, taking the place of Barabbas, the guilty. A sinner goes free, an innocent man dies. This is the story behind Barabbas.